Okay, so unfortunately, we have some pretty shit tea. I'm talking Limpton. Not shit because it isn't hot, but shit because it's very unfortunate. Let's get into it. So, Chromacon was a convention, an anime convention that happened earlier in the year in March. I was actually part of it. I was a panelist. I had two panels, one about Lolita fashion and one about budgeting. To get my personal experience with the convention out of the way, it was kind of a hot mess. The original location they said it was going to be in just fell through. Um, Based off what the con chair said, it was because the hotel itself kind of just screwed the convention over and they had to scramble for a last minute place and they ended up choosing Openworks. That's what was said. I took it at face value because I don't like assuming people are liars. So that's what I went with. So I was already going in assuming things were not going to be sweet, which is why I didn't make a video on it because I felt it was unfair to make a video on the convention when it was not doing well, not gonna probably be up to par with other conventions. And I knew full well that how this convention did for its first run would greatly impact how it would do this next one or if it'll even get a next year at all. So I decided it was probably better to just keep my mouth shut and talk about it next year when I applied once again to be a panelist and do that instead. Several months later, literally last week, we got notifications from the other people involved in the con about how there will probably not be one next year because the con chair scammed like a bunch of people and vendors. And so that's why I'm doing this video today. The main part of this video is to share what I was given information for in the Discord, um, because I do not want anyone to risk giving money to this person. Now, there is a chance that this is not true, as with everything, but if a bunch of people are saying one thing and only one person is saying another, it's usually best practice to go with the group. Um, so just to be safe, I'm going to share this information. If I get any more information, I will happily do another video to update. Or if I can find a way to like add information to this video, I'll do that, or shorts or whatever the fuck I gotta do to get the information out as I get it. But but yeah. So the con chair, Brittany is her name, um, also had a response to what was being shared in the Discord, which I will add at the end, just so you know I'm not just cherry picking. This is just all the information that I have currently. So let's get into it. I apologize for how the pictures of the Discord is going to look because unfortunately I do not know how to change the aspect ratio of pictures. So it's going to look weird. So the post started off with the department head saying that they will no longer associate with Khromakon or Brittany, who was the con chair of Khromakon, because she has been experiencing quote unquote baking issues since February, and after Chromacon has become near impossible to hear from on any of her socials or directly via phone. She hasn't paid literally 30-ish vendors refunds for them not being able to vend, because if you have forgotten, with them having to pick a different venue, the venue was much smaller. The panels were literally outside. And so instead of the 60, 50, 60 plus vendors that was originally projected and had paid money to be part of this convention, only like 15 to 20 of them actually got in. So they had a lot of people to refund because it was not cheap to get a chair at Chromacon. She still hasn't done this because of quote unquote baking issues. That's been happening since February, as I said previously. Um, so that's the first grouping of posts, which I will have on the screen. The part of the reason why the department heads are coming out with this now is because they now believe that she will not be paying anyone. That includes the vendors that need refunds, sponsors that either were going to roll over to next year or had to pull from this year. Um, the department heads themselves who have put money into this particular event, like no one is getting their money from the looks of it, and they're like, so this was a scam. Now they do not know if Khromakon became a scam after money started to run out, or if it was always meant to be a scam, but they're of the opinion that Khromakon is a scam. And the intent at some point became to take as much money as possible and disappear until it all blows over. And that was Britney's plan, based off the con chairs. At least that's what the thought was, because again, at this point in time, they were completely unable to get a hold of her. As they were uploading these to the Discord, she did make a response on one of her social media accounts. I think it was her Facebook, but we'll get into that a little later. They started going over previous discussions with Britney, as well as overall their experience, and they found that at some point she stopped really communicating with them properly. She wouldn't delegate anything to them, especially when it had to do with money. They didn't tell her how much money was being spent or bills, or if they were staying under or over budget. Overall, the communication, especially starting the month before the convention, which is funny enough when they started talking about the original hotel falling through, pretty much was just Britney doing whatever she wanted and everyone else just having to figure it out, essentially, which isn't great. I want to take a moment here to pause because I'm basically just going over the screenshots in case you're only listening or you can't really read what's on the screen. But take a moment to mention that they mention a few times throughout these Discord posts that they are compiling evidence, that they have evidence. They don't actually show this evidence to the Discord group. When I talk to my friends about it, they think it's because they're going to the court with it. And if that's the case, then we should be hearing about this in a lawsuit at some point. So there is that. There isn't much in the way of whatever this mysterious evidence that they're constantly referring to is. They don't actually show us. They do show us later about her socials because she claims later on that she had no access to the Khromakon socials. That was a lie, and they show us that. But the whole DMs and lack of communication and mystery money stuff, they don't really show us, which I think it's because they're gonna go for a lawsuit. In which case, you do need to keep a few things close to your chest. Hopefully, we'll get updates. We'll see. Moving along. Apparently, even though she kind of abandoned her own convention, she has been seen vending at other conventions, which is kind of an interesting thing to do when you owe people money and are quote unquote having baking issues. But there is that, I suppose. So yeah. It ends with them saying how they have access to some of the Chroma socials, so they'll be posting this information on there as well. But they do not have access to the actual Chroma website. And so while they're going to try to spread the information as far as they can, they do not have access to all of the official channels, and they do not know how long they'll have access to the ones that they currently have, but they are posting to their personal socials, and they are posting to the Chroma socials that they have access to. If you're wondering why there's suddenly a big old sticker on the top part of the messages on the previous slide, it's because her, and by her I mean Britney's, contact information is there, including her usernames, her phone number, and things like that. And I do not think I need to be spreading that information because that is private information, and as somebody who used to work in data collection, you can get a lot of information from just the phone number, let alone anything else. So I'm not gonna share that. Yeah. The final part of this first set of messages in the Discord is them saying that again there will be no Chromacon next year, and if you are owed money, you will probably need to go and take legal action to get it back, as the con chair is fully content on trying to sweep this under the rug and forget it happened, and doesn't seem to be doing anything to try to get everyone back their money. The next post was them saying, hey, so for now we have access to this stuff, but so does Brittany. So screenshot everything and they'll save their final post as well. But if you want to keep this information, because high chance it's gonna disappear, start screenshotting. Those are on the 17th. The 18th, they sent a message into the what's it called? The Discord, saying that Brittany had responded on her Facebook finally after months of radio silence. A friend of mine actually saw this and sent it to me, so I have a better picture than what you could see on here. I'll be showing you that now. I know in the beginning of the video I said I'll show it at the end, and I realized that was kind of dumb when they bring it up way earlier than that. But I'm not gonna re-record that entire section, so it's not going to be shown at the end. It's going to be shown like now. If you're wondering why there is a little mark on top of this, it's because that has my friend's username on it, as well as the group chat name for my particular friend group. And again, I do not think that's y'all information. So yeah, privacy reasons I'm covering that part. But here's the rest of the what's it called, the post that Brittany had put up. It basically boils down to like, it starts off with her saying that she appreciates those who tried to contact her, but the phone number in the post before, the one that I blocked off, is no longer on. She switched phone numbers, but the emails there are still a thing. So yeah. Again, I'm still not going to show those because that's private information and it did not need to be shared to get the point across, in my opinion, especially if they intend to go through legal action. They kind of shot themselves in the foot there. But yeah, it goes on to explain how she is still currently paying and doing rollovers and things like that, and that she quote unquote has a third of the way left to pay everyone. That was her claim. She also says how she promised that there will be a Khromakon next year, so there will be. She promised artist rollovers and all these things. And it's going to happen. It's just taking time, and she's having snag after snag. She explains how she's not upset with the department chairs. It's just they're frustrated, and she gets it, but like, she is trying her best. The whole post is her saying basically that she is gonna do what she promised, and she's trying her best. And a very key point of it is that she no longer have access to her Chroma socials, which is not true based off the screenshots you will be seeing later given by the department chairs. So there is that. That's her response. I personally don't know how I feel about it. Like, I have no money in the game. I was a panelist. I didn't have to travel either. Where they moved was down the block from my old place where I was at the time. So I don't have skin in the game. So I'm a bit mistrusting of it because we haven't heard anything about Khromakon and no one has been paid, and this is the first time we're hearing from you about anything in like months. So a little hard to trust your word there. But especially considering that you like openly lied about something in that post, because it's easily provable. Like, they send screenshots, but you can have your thoughts on that. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what the screenshots that the chair sent meant. I will admit I'm not the most social media savvy, but like, it's a little hard to believe you, sis, when there isn't any proof of you doing what you say that you're doing, and a bunch of people are claiming that you're not doing that. But Yeah. Based off what the chairs are saying, the only thing they have exclusive access to is the Twitter page. Um, in theory, the chair should have access to everything else, as they haven't touched two of the socials, and the other ones that they do have access to, she also has access to. So there is indeed that. This section ends with them warning us not to give her money because she's not trustworthy in their eyes. This is Date, one of the department heads who's been relaying this information to us, saying that again, sis owes them money. And it's kind of funny how now that they're not being quiet about this anymore, suddenly she can hop on our social media and respond to people and respond to emails and talk to people when they were trying to get in contact with her for literal months. Um, one plus one is not adding up to two right now, type of a deal. And to reiterate again, do not trust her. Do not give her money. This is sus and ridiculous. She's acting like a scam artist that's been caught trying to cover their ass. Is essentially the vibe of this particular post if you're not reading on the screen. Moving on. This is the proof that the department heads had that Brittany did indeed still have access to, at the very least, the Twitter page, which they originally thought she didn't have access to, but she does, and the Instagram. So there's absolutely no reason that she's unable to make an announcement or contact anyone several months prior up until this point. So the rest of this is just them showing that she does indeed have access to all the other social media pages and accounts that she was claiming that she didn't have access to. And that just like how everyone is questioning how true they're being right now, they should also question the truthfulness and trustworthiness of the con chair, because at the end of the day, they are also out of money from this entire thing. So yeah, the last post is that of them letting us know that they found a way to back up all this information. So even if the Discord itself does disappear, they have a way to still get the information out. So there is that. So that's everything. If you just look up Khromakon on like Instagram or Twitter and scroll through things for after the convention, you'll see a lot of vendors and whatnot talking about how they still have not been paid and how things are looking kind of sus. The reason why I didn't add it in this video is because I did not want to have to go through and ask permission for every vendor that I saw, because I personally don't believe in posting information like that without like putting the name of a business attached to something like this without express permission. I did the same thing when I was a panelist at the convention itself. I asked Lolita Instagram pages before I posted and talked about them, because there's a difference between sharing some Discord pages that they are encouraging us to spread the word about versus attaching someone's personal brand that isn't your own to something that can negatively impact them. But easy peasy, just go on Instagram, go on Twitter, put in Khromakon. The con has a K. Make sure you add that, because you'll get something else if you don't add that. And you will see plenty of vendors talking about it. So yeah, my personal thoughts, it's looking pretty sus. I don't want to straight up call it a scam in my own words, just in case somebody tries to come at me with a lawyer. But to me personally, reading through everything I've read through, it looks pretty sus. Like, it's not looking good for you, sis, type of deal. But hopefully things get worked out. I'll give updates if there's any updates, significant ones. And yeah. So that's Khromakon, I guess. It would be great if we get a convention here in Baltimore that doesn't get sold or turns out to be pretty scammy. Yeah.